Day 30, Ionic Compounds with Polyatomic Ions, Part 5. Today we're going to review all of our math equations, and they're all going to be mixed up, so you're not going to know exactly which equations we're going to use when we try to solve for naming these chemical compounds. So let's get started. We have scandium, which is a +3, and hydroxide, which is a -1. Scandium +3, hydroxide a -1. Play the crisscross game, and we're going to get scandium hydroxide, SCOH3, scandium hydroxide. Zinc with borate. Zinc is a +2 ion. Borate, BO3, that's a -3 ion. Crisscross game, and we get ZN3 parentheses BO3 2. Zinc borate. Lithium phosphate. Lithium is a +1. Phosphate, PO4, that's a -3. So bring these over and we'll get Li3PO4, and there's one of them, so we'll have Li3PO4, lithium phosphate, as our chemical compound. Potassium cyanide. Potassium is a +1, cyanide, CN, is a -1, so we have +1 and -1. That's going to give us KCN, +1, -1. Calcium iodate. Calcium is a +2. Iodate, IO3, that is a -1. When we play that crisscross game, we're going to get calcium iodate, IO3 with subscript 2, calcium iodate. So let's do the math equation on a couple of these. What about this one right here, KCN? What is the math equation on that? That's going to be +1 -1 equals 0. +1 -1 equals 0. What about the math equation on the calcium iodate? Well, the calcium is a +2. Calcium is a +2, and iodate, IO3, iodate is a -1. So I'm going to need another one of those iodates in order to get to 0. +2 -1 -1 is 0, and so I'll have Ca parentheses IO3 and then subscript 2. So +2 -1 -1 is 0. So let's do that second set. Scandium iodate. Scandium is a +3. Iodate, IO3, that is a -1. Scandium iodate. Well, how are we going to write that out? Well, we're just going to go through and do one of those things. So in other words, from the name, scandium iodate, you had to know what scandium was, and you got that from your periodic table of ions, and scandium is a +3. And then you had to know what iodate is. Iodate is from your polyatomic ion table, and iodate, IO3, is a -1 charge. Scandium iodate. Now we play the crisscross game, and we'll get SC with a 1, and then a parentheses IO3 and a subscript 3. And then what we'll do is since we only have one of these scandiums, then we don't need to include that 1, and we'll have SCIO3. Now what I could have done is I could have taken scandium, which is a +3, and iodate, IO3, that's a -1. I could have 3 of these iodates. 3 of the iodates. Now, +3 -1 -1 -1 equals 0. That's my math equation. I have 1 of the scandiums, and I have 3 of these iodates. I get the same formula. All right, so zinc cyanide. Zinc cyanide. Zinc is a +2 ion. Cyanide, Cn, that's a -1 ion. My math equation is going to be +2 - 1 - 1 equals 0. So I'm going to need another one of these cyanides. And I know that this has to be my math equation because zinc is +2. So I'm going to have zinc and a Cn, and I have two of them. Zinc cyanide is the formula. I could have also gone through and did it this way where I have zinc +2, cyanide Cn -1, play the crisscross game, and I get Zn parentheses Cn2, zinc cyanide. Strontium borate. Strontium is a +2, borate, BO3, is a -3. Strontium borate. One of the easiest things you can do is play this crisscross game to get the chemical formula. Strontium, I need 3 of those, bring that 3 down, and borate, BO3, I'm going to need 2 of those. Rubidium carbonate. Rubidium is Rb +1, carbonate, CO3, that's a -2 charge. I have to get to 0. That means I need another one of these rubidiums. Math equation is +1 + 1 - 2 equals 0. I have 2 of the rubidiums and 1 of the carbonates. Rubidium carbonate. Let's see here. Silver hydroxide. Silver is a +1. Hydroxide, OH, that's a -1. +1 - 1 equals 0. So the chemical formula is just going to be AgOH, silver hydroxide. So let's look at some of the ions in which there's more than one in the box, like copper 1 and copper 2. Now I'm just throwing this stuff in for extra. I mean, this is free information. All right, so copper 1 hydroxide. I want you to be able to tell me what the chemical formula is for copper 1 hydroxide. And better yet, how about copper 2 hydroxide? Why don't you tell me the chemical formula for that one as well? And so the only thing different is that now we're using more than one in the box. In other words, rubidium and silver, there's only one in the box, but copper has more than one in the box, so we have to have these Roman numerals. So I chose copper 1, so I have to have copper with a +1. And here's hydroxide, this OH, and that's a -1. My math equation is +1 - 1 is 0. Copper 1 hydroxide has to be written as CuOH. What about copper 2 hydroxide? Copper 2 is Cu with a +2. Hydroxide, OH, that's a -1. I have to get to 0. That means I need another one of these hydroxides. My chemical formula is then Cu parentheses OH 2, because I have 2 of the hydroxides. Let's just take this a step further. If you look at your periodic table of ions, you'll find something called titanium-4. Titanium-4 is titanium with a +4 charge. Look on your table, see it. Titanium-4. What if I wanted titanium-4 hydroxide? So titanium-4 hydroxide, write it out over here. Titanium-4 hydroxide. That's what we want, titanium-4. Titanium-4 is a +4 charge, and so hydroxide, OH, that's a -1 charge. What do? Same steps. Do that crisscross game. Play whatever game you need to. Write it out. Titanium, parentheses, OH, and I have 4 of them. Titanium-4 hydroxides. What I'm trying to share with you is the steps are the same. We have a systematic way of naming compounds, whether there's one in the box, more than one in the box. You know, that list of math equations I gave you is not complete. I mean, there's many others. It's just to help get you started. All this week I've never talked about a +4 ion, but yet here I did one. So you should be able to do them too. And since we're rounding the week off with all these extras and free information, how about we just do one more? One more. Come on. It'd take 2 seconds. Let's learn something new. All right. Titanium 4 carbonate. Titanium 4 carbonate. Now I'm going to warn you, this could be a little tricky. So what you do is you say, okay, titanium 4. Well, okay, what's so tricky about that? Titanium with a +4. Nothing. Carbonate, what's tricky about that? Carbonate is CO3, and that has a charge of -2. There's nothing tricky about it at all. It's just memorization. You had to know the ion. Now let's write it out. Let's play that crisscross game. So we'll do that crisscross game on this, and this is going to give us titanium with a 2 down here because we had to bring the 2 down, and then we have carbonate, CO3, and we have to bring that 4 down. Notice now we have to reduce, and so we're going to get Ti parentheses CO3 2, titanium 4 carbonate. This is what it looks like. It should make sense to you that this is titanium 4 carbonate, but let's do it a different way. Let's look at titanium 4, titanium +4, and let's say carbonate. Carbonate is CO3 and it has a -2 charge. And so in order to get to 0, I need another one of these carbonates, and then my math equation becomes +4 -2 2 equals 0. This becomes my math equation. We haven't done that all week, but yet here it is. This math equation might be a little different, but our result's the same. Notice that we have only one of the titaniums, and how many of the carbonates do we have? We have 2 of them. See, aren't you glad you stuck around to the end of the video? Now you learned something new, I hope. See, chemistry can be one of the most fun classes. Well, today was fun for me, so I hope it was for you too. Take care.